we're waiting here, I am fairly new to the chapter. I'm super excited to be a part of it, but I don't know a lot of you. So if while we're waiting, you can put your name in the chat and the institution that you're from, that would be super helpful as we all sort of get familiar with each other today.
Yeah, I see some CCBC folks. I have a sister who works at CCBC, probably mainly on the Essex campus, Patricia Dar, in the test center, I think. She's moved around, so I'm not sure where she is now.
She does. I know Trish. Yes.
Okay.
I've known Trish for about 20 years.
Okay, great. Yeah. I hope that's all good.
Oh, all great. No, Trish is the best. You have you need a question from the testing center. Trish is the one.
Yeah, she's my younger sister, so
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, Kathy. Hey, Kathy.
Hi, Lisa.
Yeah.
I was like, that voice sounds really familiar.
My whole family's in community college. Our other sister works at Hartford. I'm from Hartford Community College, and my mother has been in community colleges almost all of her career. She's retired now, but she's now teaching at Hartford Community College adjunct. We've been a community college family for many, many years.
Pam and Jocelyn, just to let you know, while Jessica's bouncing back and forth, I'm going to facilitate things, and we'll get started in just a couple minutes.
Okay.
Just give everybody 2 more minutes.
Yeah. Great to see you, Chris.
Yeah, you too, both of you. I don't get out of the house, so I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm on medical leave.
Yeah. Jeff mentioned it at one of our CETL meetings, so I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I feel fine. I had a skiing accident, and little kid just kind of plopped down in front of me. So it was either try to avoid him or run him over. And
those kids, I tell you.
I know. Fortunately, I avoided him, but unfortunately, my shoulder paid the price.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and get started since we're a couple minutes after. So I'm Chris Jones. I'm the president-elect of NOSS MD, and I wanted to welcome you to our March conference, A Pot of Gold at the End of the Rainbow, what colleges and institutions have introduced to increase student success. And I wanted to thank you all for taking your late afternoon to be part of NOSS MD. And hopefully what you get out of this is some ideas for student success in your classroom, but also being able to look at what's going on outside of the classroom to support student success, especially in a primarily virtual environment. We do have 2 exceptional speakers today that are going to talk to us about what they're doing to be able to facilitate student success. And we're going to go ahead and introduce them in a moment. So we'll just go through our program. So after I'm done yammering for a few moments, I'll go ahead and introduce Pam and Jocelyn. And then after about a half hour, we'll have a small breakout session. And we'll just kind of talk about what we do within our own silos to be able to foster student success. Then we'll just have our open discussion. We'll report out, have a small Q&A, and then I'll let you know about future NOSS MD events. And so I'll go ahead and introduce Pam Runge and Jocelyn Sheridan. Pam is our manager for the Learning Center, and she's been at Hartford Community College for approximately 15 years. Both in part-time and full-time roles in both ABE, GED courses, transitional math, and English. So she's pretty much a Duchess of all trades, if you would. I've had the pleasure of knowing Pam for many years, and she's certainly knowledgeable and effective leader within her discipline. So we're very lucky to have Pamela today to be able to work with us. And then also my colleague from Harvard, Jocelyn Sheridan. She's worked at Harvard for about 3 years, and she's had numerous positions within the college as a learning assistant, the executive assistant to the vice president of academic affairs a couple years ago, and now she is the student support specialist within the Learning Center. And she earned her bachelor's degree from Brigham Young University, and she's currently working on her master's degree from Wilmington University. And so with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Pam and Jocelyn, and they're going to talk to us about how they facilitate student success.
Okay, so it's nice to be here. I'm going to share my screen, pull up our presentation, and we'll get started. So yes, Jocelyn and I work together in the Learning Center at Harford Community College. So we're just going to take you through some of the programs and services that we are doing to increase student success. And it's our collaboration with other areas on campus, faculty and student support staff, and marketing. We just collaborate across the campus to make sure we're promoting our success initiatives to our students. So just a little bit about our Learning Center. Our mission is to instill confidence, self-esteem, and success for our students. And of course, we do that by assisting them with their course content. But I think more importantly, we promote the learning strategies and the study skills to help them become confident learners. Our slogan is we teach them how to learn. So they need to learn to learn. So that's our focus in all that we do to help them become lifelong learners. So on campus, when we're in our physical space, we're located in our library. In the lower level, we have a dedicated space that's a walk-in center where students do not need an appointment. They can just walk in. There is a schedule they can look to see which learning assistants and what times learning assistants are available for a specific course that they're needing some help with. We also provide individual sessions. We have NetTutor is our online, the vendor for online tutoring. We do group sessions, some SI sessions, in-class supports, and embedded learning assistance. So of course, when COVID hit, as with everyone, we had to quickly determine how we could maintain all of our services in a virtual environment. And so that's what we've been doing. We are an Office 365 campus. So we utilized Microsoft Bookings to help connect our students to our services. So they use that for their scheduling, their virtual sessions, which are held in teams. So I'm just gonna let Jocelyn's gonna explain that just a little bit further to you, how we use that booking system.
Sure. So on the left-hand side, you can see what the booking system looks like. Students can select a service, meaning the course that they would like assistance with, or they can choose to meet with me as a student success specialist or our athlete academic coach, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the student can choose what service they're interested in and then select a date and time, write what they would like to work on, and then they're sent a link to a Microsoft Teams room. So you can see on the right-hand side just a screenshot of what that looks like. That's a student working with our learning assistant. You can see him small in the corner, and they're collaborating together, working on some practice problems. So that is the system that we have set up for the online and remote environment. So as Pam and I were preparing for this presentation, we're thinking about our Learning Center services, our collaboration with other units and departments on campus. And we really want to focus on the efforts we've taken to increase student success among 3 specific populations: our developmental education students, our students of color, and our athletes. So again, we are going to share the things that have been going on at HCC, and then we're going to have some breakout rooms and a chance to share together what other campuses are doing. So really we can learn from each other and collaborate on these success initiatives.
Okay, so to start out, I'm going to share about supporting our DevEd students. And one way that we do this is through a program that started in January 2019. We call it Winter Warm Up. So this is a collaboration effort of the Learning Center, the Test Center, Math and English deans and coordinators and faculty, our director for advising and marketing. So we all came together and started this initiative again in January 2019, and we've continued it over the January semesters. It's held the January weeks between fall and spring semesters. The cohort is our the previous fall students, DevEd classes, who were not successful, whether it was a fail or a drop or withdrawal. And then we also target our incoming spring students who have taken the AccuPlacer test and tested into a DevEd level course. So our goal is to help our students review and practice the skills and have them retake the AccuPlacer for an attempt to place in the next level course. Which could, or place into college level, depending on where they are in their sequence and how far the jump is. But we wanted to make sure they had some intensive support to practice and review those AccuPlacer test-taking skills and the content to help them move through their sequence. So we have learning assistants available to provide the test-taking strategies and study skills. We have faculty available. The students could meet with their instructors for specific content instruction in whatever area they're needing. We have advisors available to help in case they need to adjust their schedule. If they test higher, they then need to adjust their schedule. So we had advising available to help with that. And marketing was instrumental in helping us to promote the program. So we used a coupon to provide a free retest on the AccuPlacer, which is about $25 savings for them. So they can take it twice with no cost. And then after that, there's a fee. But we were giving them this opportunity to retake it another time to try to place higher. So the coupon shows them all the information, and here's their retest coupon. Now for this past January, of course, we had to take this virtual. So we had done it previously, on campus. We did not have any virtual mode to it at all. In fact, to invite the cohorts in, we actually mailed the snail mail system, the invitation letter and coupons. So doing this virtual now, having to go in the virtual mode, we emailed the letter and coupon, which was much more effective in many ways. We followed that up with mass text reminders. We have Mongoose Text on our campus, and we use that to send out text reminders following up with the email invitation. So that was a better approach. And then marketing also helped us to promote by advertising on our HCC webpage and sending out social media blast about the winter warm-up program. So we saw the benefits of the virtual approach. Our numbers in the previous years were low. It's a small cohort of students that respond to the invitation. But we've had some success along the way. I mean, if we had 2 students who placed higher, that was success. But our virtual mode that we just did in January, we had 14 students. That's probably double what we've had over the previous years. So 14 students participated in the winter warm-up. And this is just showing that 7 students placed higher in 1 or more sections. If you're looking quickly here, you'll see 8 bars. But that's because 1 student tested in both reading, writing, and math, but they placed higher, some into college level. We had 2 students who did not place higher, and then 5 who didn't do the retest. Now we're going to go back and follow up because sometimes the students didn't do the retest at that time, but they may be doing it later. Of course, the time has passed that they've done their refresher, but we are seeing success with this initiative. So we're excited to continue this, and when we are returning, as we are maybe returning to campus, we'll make sure that we keep the virtual parts of it in place, because we saw just the benefits of having that virtual mode. So I'll pass this on.
Really quick, there is a question in the chat. Can you
Yeah,
speak
sorry,
to
I can't see it.
yeah, can you speak to the cost and the length of the winter warm-up session?
Oh, the cost, well, the cost was probably very minimal, especially in this virtual mode. It was email and texting. One area of cost was we did do an incentive this time that we had not done in the previous years. And the incentive, though, didn't come out until kind of after the fact. So they got a couple of email blasts, probably 3 or 4 email blasts. But we provided, after I think it was a $15 or $20, might have been $50 gift certificates to the students who participated in the winter warm-up. So those 14 students who participated received gift certificates to our college store, for which they were very appreciative. And there was a lot of contact with the students. The way we did it in the virtual teams is we had breakout rooms, so students could click on that coupon or in their letter that they received in the email and automatically be connected with a point of contact in Teams, which was one of our learning assistants. And that learning assistant would help them get connected either to a learning assistant to help them with strategies, or connected to the faculty instructor who could help them with the content questions, or the advisor who could help them if they needed that. And then we could also help them set up to take their placement test through the test center. So it worked very well virtually. And then the length of time is the weeks between fall and spring semester. So it was about 3 weeks in January when we came back from holiday break. It's usually about 3 weeks before the semester begins. So that's the time frame that this took place.
Great, thank you.
So Jocelyn's going to continue with some of our DevEd supports that we have in place.
Sure. First, we'll talk about our in-class success lessons. We know that students are more successful and likely to be retained when they take advantage of student support services on campus, but we also know that many developmental education students are hesitant to go to the Learning Center or access these services. So the in-class success lessons, this was a program that we piloted in 2017. And it was an initiative where we could take some of our Learning Center services into the classroom. Specifically, we worked with faculty in developmental education English courses, and we wanted to give short lessons on non-cognitive strategies, such as time management, test-taking skills, note-taking strategies. So the idea was that several times in the semester, we'd pop into a classroom, give a short presentation on the strategy, and then the instructor would give an assignment related to the time management skill, or a journal prompt about what they learned about note-taking strategy, something like that. And then the students were also given surveys to see if the information was helpful, how likely they were to access Learning Center services as a result. So we started in developmental English courses as a pilot, and our curriculum was based on this book, On Course by Skip Downing. But the word did spread around campus, and we started visiting other classrooms by request of faculty. We visited religion, statistics, geography, different courses. And now we are embedded into the developmental English courses in the curriculum. So that was the in-class success lesson program. Once COVID world hit, we knew that we had to move this program online to the remote environment in order to keep it going. So what we did is we actually took our lessons and turned them into YouTube videos. We created 11 YouTube videos focusing on the different strategies, and made sure that an email was sent out to all faculty that they could have access to the videos. so that if they were interested, they could embed them in their courses, or they could request that a learning assistant or the student success specialist could present the strategy within the class. So if we'll go to the next slide on our data here, initially, one of the big data points that we collected was to see what strategy students were interested in learning more about, because sometimes maybe what we perceive that the students need and what they want to learn more about are not in congruence. So we got some good feedback about what lessons were really helpful to the students, what they still were interested in learning more about. And we're able to, sort of cater our lessons to accommodate both of those things. And then the graphic on the right is just an example of feedback that we would get from the surveys after the students indicating if the success lessons were helpful, if it was clearly presented, and if they were likely to access Learning Center resources in the future. So we got very positive results on all of our lessons. But something I wanted to do this semester is, instead of just doing the feedback form, we wanted to change the surveys to actually measure if the students were applying the skills that they had learned from the in-class success lessons. So we changed the surveys. Instead of being just after the lesson on paper, we now do it through Microsoft Forms. And our English courses that have these lessons embedded in their Blackboard shells, the students are assigned to do a pre-survey, asking them questions such as, in the past 7 days, how often have you taken notes while studying? How often have you used a variety of study methods? And then they are given a very similar survey after the success lessons to measure their growth in some of those study skills and strategies.
Okay, so continuing on with another area of support for our DevEd students, what Jocelyn just explained started out as a pilot with our DevEd English reading and writing courses. So we wanted to make sure we were providing that support for our DevEd math as well. So we started a collaboration with some DevEd instructors through the math coordinator, which at that time happened to be our own Chris Jones. So Chris was very connected with us in helping us get this embedded learning assistance program off the ground. He helped us to kind of pinpoint which levels of the math, DevEd math probably needed the most support, and we determined that was our Math 023, which is it's not the lowest level, it's probably a pre-algebra level. So we focused on connecting with that with some instructors there. So when we first started this, we had 2 instructors for 3 classes that we had embedded learning assistants. So I'm sure maybe some of you use embedded learning assistants. It's a type of SI, but what we did with it is the instructor and the learning assistant were in communication about what was being covered. And the way our DevEd math courses are structured is they're a term 1 and term 2. So it's 7 weeks, term 1, and then you go into the next level in term 2. So you're completing in a semester. So we have lab times in those sections. At that time, we had lab times. Because they were these 7-week courses, the instructors were not as open to having us come in to do a success lesson, an in-class success lesson, because they really needed that time for instruction. So what we did was go into their lab time. So we had a learning assistant in their lab time, walking around the room, helping students, giving that additional support under the instructor's guidance. The embedded learning assistant shared success strategies, math strategies, problem-solving strategies. So our whole goal of the embedded learning assistance program was to give students the chance for more individualized attention and feedback during that lab time, but also to expose the students to our Learning Center support, because just many students aren't aware of what the services are of the Learning Center. So we're always looking for ways to promote that. And we know that our DevEd population may be the lesser likely population to seek out the help, and they are the ones that probably need the most help. So this was a way to promote more of our services. So we found that students who were in the embedded learning assistance sections used the other Learning Center services more than those who did not have the embedded learning assistance. The first class that we had this with, the embedded learning assistant became connected with that class, and those students started coming into the Learning Center to seek him out. They had individual sessions with him. They would come into the center during our walk-in hours to work with him. So it gave them that extra connection and support. And of course, the learning assistant was in close contact with the instructor to make sure everything was just syncing correctly and everything was flowing and supporting the student in all those areas. So the chart that I show here, just for a piece of data, this was a fall 2019, the Math 023 section. So these are students who passed the Math 023. So those who were in the embedded learning assistance sections, we had 72% of those students passed. The orange is students who just used the walk-in learning center, but were not in the embedded section. 64% of them passed. And of course, here, the students who had no learning assistance at all, they did not use the Learning Center services and did not have an embedded learning assistant, they had a 56% pass rate. So we're encouraged by the numbers and of course, continuing the program. Just as we saw with our in-class success lessons that Jocelyn just explained, we saw this spread into other courses. So we started out with our DevEd math, but then the word got out. Of course, we shared this with our divisions. We were in a pre-calc class. We were in calc and calc with applications and statistics. And we're still using this in the virtual field. It's a little bit more challenging for our learning assistant to be in the class through a virtual mode. So what we're doing is we're connecting with that instructor. The learning assistants connected with the instructor, and they're having a session either just right after the class or another time in the week where they can follow up. So then it becomes more of an SI or a group session following up on what they were doing in class.
All right, so next we are going to move to our student population of students of color. Supporting students of color, we work really closely with My College Success Network on our campus. This is a network that is designed to provide academic coaching and support for students of color. And so they're in the same department with us. We collaborate with them a lot. And something that they had expressed, once the pandemic hit, was that students didn't have as many opportunities to connect with each other, and they weren't connected really to the network, those that weren't actively involved in coaching. So we collaborated on this idea of strength through support groups. So our mission statement was to provide a safe, inclusive virtual environment for students to engage in meaningful conversations and foster a sense of community. So any student was invited to these workshops, but we specifically marketed it to students registered in My College Success Network and Disability and Student Intervention Services. So as you can see on the next slide, I just put an example of a flyer from a month of our offerings. So we have a variety of different workshops. There was one on warning signs of intimate partner violence. There was a student who's a YouTuber. He did a survival guide, how to survive college. We had a study skills workshop, all these different things. And we've had collaboration from staff members, faculty members, but I really think our most impactful workshops have been our student series. In the bottom left-hand corner, that was just a screenshot from a recent group we had where a student talked about the power of positivity, and students were able to share stories of resilience. So that's been a great opportunity for our students to come together.
Next, we're going to cover how we've been supporting our athletes. So this was really just started with our virtual time frame here in the virtual environment. So this was an initiative that came about with providing some more support for our athletes. So we invited athletes to participate in an academic training camp. So the collaboration here was our My College Success Network team, which are 2 academic coaches, Jocelyn and myself from the Learning Center. And we had some other colleagues in different areas that have done presentations and have the knowledge. We had disability support and intervention services to present on some topics. So this was a week before spring semester, and we had different workshops. As you can see here, this was the agenda for the curriculum. It was covering motivation, goal setting, getting their mindset on track for the start of the semester, study strategies, time management, wellness, and then just positivity through this was an amazing kind of art session that they went through to talk about strength and integrity and using art to express that. So during the first week of the semester following this training camp, oh, by the way, we had about 27 participants of the athletes here, which was a very encouraging number for us. We were more than pleased with that participation level. So during the first week of the semester then, so this took place the week before, we didn't want to stop this. So we look at this as an early intervention prior to the semester, followed by continuous support. So we have a learning assistant, a dedicated learning assistant, who is available to continue meeting with this cohort of athletes. So the athletes can connect with this learning assistant to continue the support throughout the semester. So it's really what we've termed informal coaching. She helps support the barriers, if they're having barriers, if it's time management, whatever it might be that they're working on, course content questions. She can be the liaison to connect them to their academic coach, or to connect them to a session with a learning assistant on the course content, or that where they have questions and need support there. So our focus again was early intervention prior to the start of the semester to build a strong mindset and continue with following up that support throughout the semester. And then also with our athletes, we continued that support by developing study halls. Now, this is not something new. We had been doing study hall in previous semesters, but this virtual, having taken it virtual, has really improved and actually overcome some challenges that we had faced when we were doing the study halls on campus. So the previous study halls, obviously we had learning assistants available to support their questions on their courses, and they would present a success strategy. And then, like I said, we faced challenges there. Some of it was, for whatever reason with scheduling, we didn't have the coach presence there. So that sometimes created a rowdy situation with our learning assistants being there and trying to manage this group of athletes in study hall. And the athletes weren't really using the learning assistants who were there. So our learning assistants were really just going there and sitting there while the athletes just stayed in their large group section. So this collaboration with the Learning Center, our academic coaches, with the My College Success Network, the men's basketball coach, we did this pilot of this virtual study hall and it really addressed some of those challenges. So the way that this is working, the coach is present, and you can see here, this is their coach right here. He is present. He actually manages the study hall. He sets the appointment. He's in touch with his athletes. He directs the students. He gets faculty feedback, and he's talking with the students. So he directs them to the learning assistant. So we have 2 learning assistants to help with reading, writing, study strategies, and then we have math learning assistant. So he will direct them. He's just saying, okay, Ja'Cory, Joe, you're going to go over and work with Kiki, and he manages the breakout rooms and sends them to where they need to be. So he's directing it. So that helped to overcome some of those challenges we had faced. He's a mandatory cameras on study hall, and that's helpful because, and as you can see in this picture, we kind of smile. We see this, it's like a typical study hall visual. You know, they're on, their cameras are on the whole time. They're moving around a lot. You can see them moving around the whole time, but they're active. They have to be actively working on their assignments, studying. So he's mandatory cameras on. We usually try to begin the study hall with an icebreaker that's led by usually Jocelyn or one of the academic coaches. So our athletes here are surrounded with this support that's continuing throughout the semester. They know me, they know Jocelyn, they know those coaches, they know where to go get help, they know our learning assistants. We also show them how they connect through bookings, through our Microsoft bookings, to book a session with a learning assistant for any other course help that they need. So it's really been a great pilot. Right now it's every Thursday for 1 hour. We'll determine as we're nearing midterm and getting into the semester a little bit more if we need to add another hour. And right now it's just with the men's basketball team. We are looking to open that up to other teams and expanding it. Okay, so this is going to just lead us over to our next portion. I'll let Jocelyn explain what we're going to do with the breakout rooms. Or we can actually take some time for any questions at this point before we break out.
Sure, I did want to address one question I saw in the chat regarding our winter warm-up program. If we have specific materials or curriculum that we teach from. And, oh, do you want to?
Yeah, we follow the AccuPlacer. We use NextGen AccuPlacer, and there are practice tests and the items, skills reviews through the NextGen AccuPlacer, and that's what we use.
Yep, all students, when they first come to the winter warm-up room, are asked if they've taken the practice AccuPlacer first, because the questions that they missed on that practice AccuPlacer is really going to be the springboard to which they can talk with the learning assistants, talk with the instructor to get that help.
Yeah.
I did see one other question in the chat, if this recording can be shared. Chris or Jessica, can you speak to that?
Yep. Jocelyn, I believe you're recording it. So when you're done, I think you'll have the file. And if we can somehow translate that between you and I, and then I'll try to post it on the website so everybody can see it, just in case they might have missed parts of it, as long as it's okay with everybody.
Perfect. That sounds great. Are there any other questions, Chris or anyone else that we didn't address before we go to the breakout rooms?
There were a couple other questions in the chat. I just wanted to make sure that everybody got the answers to those. I believe they were all answered, but maybe everybody can't see the chat either. So, so you did answer the question about the materials for the winter warm-up. There was a question about the FYE course, and I think Jessica answered that, but the question was, does Hartford Community College have an FYE course requirement, or do the in-class student lessons take place of that? So I'll let you guys answer that just to make sure everybody hears it.
We do not have an FYE requirement here. It's been talked about. Our in-class lessons are just something that the Learning Center does as a service to be in our collaboration with our faculty to help when they start to see, you know, our students just need help with time management or some organizational skills. So we work with the instructors to invite us in or to use one of the videos that we have. And again, that tie-in with an activity or lesson that they're doing in the class is very important. So we work with the faculty that will come in and do this lesson, but you have to make sure it connects to something so they can use it. You know, if we just come in and talk about time management, but they don't do anything with it, it's really not going to have the relevance or the meaning. So we work with instructors to make sure they're connecting it with an activity or assignment that uses the strategy that we've gone over. So that's just something that we've been doing, and we are hoping for this to continue its growth as we've seen it go into other courses besides just the DevEd where we started with the English. So we hope to see it continue to grow. But at this time, we do not have FYE across, for students to have to take. It's not a mandatory course.
Thanks, Pam.
Mhm.
And just to let everybody know, we do have a course that's called Human Development 110 for students that are unsure of their career or their educational paths. It sort of serves as that official course that we offer that sometimes students will take.
Yeah.
But I do feel that the Learning Center does a marvelous job of edifying our students as to getting oriented to college. So, and then another question that was in the chat about how long are the non-cognitive strategy videos? And I think Jocelyn, you said they could be anywhere from 4 to 12 minutes apiece, correct, man?
Yes.
Another question in the chat, what qualifies as a student of color? Is it any non-white student? And Jocelyn, I believe you said that that is correct. Any non-white student is eligible to participate as not as a student of color. And we also do have a few specific programs, such as our Rites of Passage program that's targeted to specific minority groups. A question that just came up, what area are you under as in academic affairs or student affairs?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're under student affairs. And it's usually a split when we're at conferences with other Learning Center colleagues. It's usually a split. So, there's about half of the colleges are under academic affairs and the other half are under student affairs, but we are under student affairs.
Thank you. And I think we got all the questions. Did anybody else have any other questions? Okay, so I think Pam and Jocelyn, you guys were going to do the breakout rooms at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we'd love to hear about what you all are doing.
Yes, we would. This is a great opportunity to learn from each other. So I've actually created 3 breakout rooms, one for Dev Ed students, one for students of color, and one for athletes. And Pam, if you can show the next slide, what we would like you to do, we're going to open up these breakout rooms. You'll see a message pop up on your screen where you can actually choose which one you'd like to join. And take a couple minutes to discuss these questions or just see where the conversation organically takes you. What challenges might your student population face during COVID-19? What is your institution currently doing to support your student population? And what new ideas could you try? So I'm going to put those questions in the chat just as a reminder. But I think we'll open this up for about 8 minutes or so. And then if you could just have someone from your group be prepared to summarize your thoughts, we'll come back together and share what we discussed, share what new ideas we have, or share what our campuses are currently doing. So I am going to go ahead and hit the open room button, and you should see the option to join. If you have any questions about that or it's not working for you, just unmute yourself. Either Pam or I will be in this main room if anyone has questions.
Jocelyn?
Yes.
I don't have that join button or join option.
I'm looking for it as well. I don't see an option to join. You could just put me in one.
Yeah, I don't have any option either.
If you click breakout room, do you see an option?
Yeah.
To join?
I don't have an option breakout room.
Pretty large demand.
Oh, wait,
I'm not sure if that will continue.
Got it. All right.
So we definitely
Yeah,
would love to
if you
bring on
click
more
the breakout
science
rooms at the
tutors.
bottom of your screen, does it
So
give you an
like
option, or is it
basic
still not?
biology 1 and 2, anatomy and physiology.
Let's see,
Yes,
there's a
yes, breakout
reaction,
Just put me anywhere
share screen.
apart from
We also
athletes because I
provide
don't know much
assistance,
about that.
Um,
Okay, okay, I see that.
science,
Everyone else here, I
so
can just
if you have a
assign
subject
to
that
them.
you feel as if you would be a good tutor
Thank you.
for,
Sure.
Yeah, it looks like they're looks like in the athletes section there's only one person, maybe.
Sometimes if people have a previous version or not the most recent
It
version,
might not be. Yeah. Okay.
it doesn't show the breakout room option.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I
Looks like
assigned
it's
some people
yeah,
to
looks
the
like it's
room,
pretty
so
good.
hopefully it works.
Yeah, I can see the rooms being populated. So
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever you're doing a great job doing it.
Okay. Melissa, I just saw your message. I'm gonna look at the breakout rooms again, see if I can do that. Okay, Melissa, I just hi.
Hey.
I put you to be assigned in the you want to be in the development ed.
Yeah, thank you.
I just hit that button. So does it show up on your screen to join the
No, not yet. The athletes popped up, but not dev ed.
Okay, I just sent that over for the dev ed. Hopefully that will work for you.
It's so weird. Yeah, athletes popped up and
oh man, thanks for being patient.
Oh no worries.
Okay, so do you see
are you able to click breakout rooms? Do you have that option?
Oh yeah, I got it now. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. You're welcome.
Always with the breakout rooms.
I know. That's why I was like, you do it, Jocelyn.
We had a conference last week for Maryland Collegiate Honors Council, and every session, and we had about 200 people at this virtually. So you can imagine like us trying to scramble to put people in to the breakout rooms, and we only had one tech person. So
okay, I'm gonna just pop in the rooms, make sure.
Okay.
I want to hang out here just in case somebody decides to get lost or something.
Okay,
like that.
sounds good.
All right, thank.
To them where I'm kind of distracted doing something else. So that's really worked out well. And with the breakout rooms that you mentioned, that's been really good because Allie will go into this one, then I'll go into that one, we'll switch out. That's worked well too. The other thing that kind of a, I don't know that it's necessarily a
percent minority, or that may be the percentage of African American, and I'm not sure, but the numbers are smaller on our campus. And so when the My College Success Network was created, it was initially designed to support and empower
with my instructions, with my teaching, and with my preparation. So because of the responsibility that I think I have, I always think that I should make sure I do my best. So when I think I've done my best, even then, if my students are not getting it, then it's still my responsibility. So what do I do first?
You know, he talks like you're talking to him, you feel like you're talking to an older kid sometimes, but that's what he's around all the time.
What does he like to do? What's he into?
Scooby-Doo, he likes. He likes to watch Berenstain Bears is one of his big things. He's starting to get into the superheroes. He's really been into Batman and Spider-Man lately. We've been going around going with the web of Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah, like that. I can't do it right. Oh.
His birthday's coming up. He'll be 4 on the 23rd.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh. He's getting so big.
Oh, and that's right during spring break too.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Are you guys seeing a lot more people using the Learning Center from distance learning?
I think it's improved since last year when we went virtual, but you know, we took a decline in usage, obviously, just like we did with enrollment, and we're on a trend with enrollment anyway. Our usage trends the enrollment. But when we put the booking system into place, I think that really improved it.
Yeah, I know a lot of my students, especially for my upper level classes that use the Learning Center, they really like the booking system.
Yeah, good. That's good to hear.
Yeah. I asked how many of them use NetTutor just out of curiosity, and not one of my students, and all I teach is 200 level math stuff.
Yeah.
Not one of them used NetTutor. And I asked them why. And they was like, well, just go to Learning Center and I know what I'm going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very low usage pre-COVID. Of course, that increased because of just the online format, but it's still not heavily used. We're actually shopping different vendors, not just for online tutoring, but just like a one that can house everything. So students go to one place and can connect to everything. Yeah. So we're in the process of shopping for that.
I can imagine how difficult that is, especially for us where we have such a diverse need for all of our students. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close out the room. So
Close them out. Okay.
To join.
So I stopped sharing. I won't share again, Josh, and we'll just have open discussion. Is that
That's fine.
okay? Okay.
You want to facilitate it, Pam? Just
sure.
Different groups. Okay.
After the breakout groups, if you guys could put up the very last slide, because it has some of the conference information for the April conference.
Which slide you talking about?
I can share it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we ever merged ours, so I can just share my screen again.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Okay.
Oh, that's all right.
I was like, I don't think so.
If I'm allowed to, I can do it too, Jesse. It's up to you. You're the boss. You tell me what you want.
Well, if you have the link and you want to open it and share it, that's fine. I'm still kind of popping between two computers.
I'll take care of it for you. You're good.
Okay. I think we've got everybody coming back now. Okay, welcome back from your breakout rooms. We hope you were able to have some time for some discussion. So what we are hoping to do is just have someone kind of be the speaker for the support area that you were talking about. So maybe we'll just start with our DevEd students. Can anyone from that group share what was discussed or what some of your areas are doing in that realm to support those students?
All right, I'll go ahead. I'm Lynn Petzold from Hartford Community College, and I was in the DevEd group. One of the challenges that we had brought up, not necessarily solved, but brought up is the students that are missing in action. You know, they're just, you contact them, and you get nothing. Not sure how to handle that, you know, calling cell phones, emailing, blah, 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 blah. We're still not getting any response. So that's very difficult. And then the other thing is a couple of us talked about having had learning assistants or tutors in our classes, and then it went really well. We really like that. And anybody else help me out here? That's all that I'm remembering off the top of my head right at the moment.
Yeah, and that's a real challenge, Lynn, with what you were saying about contacting students and you just get nothing back. I really don't even know what to say about that. I know that I don't know if some institutions have early alerts, but even the early alerts, if the students aren't responding, it's just what can you do? And you try to have these intrusive supports to help with that. But if they're not going to respond, that's a tough one. And I know that happens. It happens often.
And I just remembered another thing, and I better talk about it before I forget. Somebody else commented that online learning was never offered in their colleges before COVID, because to be quite honest, it's not a good method for struggling math students to learn well using, and that it's been very challenging for people to try and navigate a completely online course if they are a DevEd student. I'm teaching it completely online, which I didn't want in one of our DevEd math classes, but I'm still meeting, you know, my classes when I was scheduled to teach my other one. And I've got a few people that are coming and they're doing really well. So at least virtual, I think, is helpful. But I think completely online is only for those very few, very dedicated students that just need a refresher, as opposed to those that are really struggling with the material. Yeah. So that's my opinion, and I'll stop talking.
No, that's a good point. I can see they have many challenges that they're facing anyway, and then you add that layer of the online mode, it just increases their challenge. Yeah. Okay, for time purposes, I'm going to go on to students of color. Anyone from that group?
I'd like anybody or other person from that group to speak, because Maya Smith and I are from HCC, so that the presentation attended to what we do there. So
we need another brave volunteer then.
I'll volunteer. I mean, we didn't really end up with much time to talk, but technology seemed to be the issue. But the conversation actually started with the numbers of students of color vary greatly from institution to institution. So the category in and of itself means different things in different places. At Prince George's, we are a majority minority institution, in contrast to some place like Hartford, I know that has very few students of color. But literally the only thing we got to was saying that our students struggle with access to technology primarily. Access. Some of them have some of the savvy once they have the technology, but access is most certainly an issue, and that's pretty much as far as we got.
Okay, yeah, I know that with timing purposes, we didn't have as much time to talk about it, but I hope you can, if you have anything else to share that you don't have time for discussion, add it in the chat, and hopefully the discussions can continue. So let's just touch on the athletes. Did anyone from that group have anything to share out, or what you're doing or challenges you're facing?
Yeah, I'll share out.
Okay, thank you, JJ.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, we just talked about the importance of communicating with instructors and just really making that a highlight.
Yep. And I know on our campus, we have, I think it's a homegrown early alert through the athletes. So if you get a contact to report back on the athlete that's in your course. So I think that's important to continue, have that, probably need more to keep that communication open. Yeah, good. Well, thank you. I hope that since we're in this group together, this NOSS group, that we can continue to connect with each other and share what we're doing across our different colleges with these groups of students to improve student success. We thank you for letting us share what we're doing, and we're happy to be here with you and also get some of the input from you. So I think Chris has some closing comments for us.
Yes, give me one moment. I'll share my screen and we'll finish up our conference. Okay. And just to make sure everybody can see the last slide that we have up here. Great. Okay.
Yes.
So first of all, I wanted to say thank you to both Pamela and Jocelyn on behalf of the board, as well as the rest of us, for sharing your experience and taking your time out of your Friday. We really learned a lot. And even being at Hartford for almost 20 years now, I learned a lot about some of the things and initiatives that are going on behind the scenes that for faculty we don't necessarily always get to see. So thank you very much, not only for your presentation, but also for your commitment to the college as well. Just a few notes about our future events going on for NOSS MD. Our next event is actually our largest event for the year. It's going to be our spring conference. Please put that on your calendar. It's going to be April 23rd. And the theme is going to be keeping our students close from a distance, which from the discussion today seems like it leads perfectly into the challenges that we're all facing, especially in this remote environment. So please hold that down. Our keynote speaker is going to be Dr. Emily Sue. Emily actually serves as the NOSS representative for the Equity and Inclusion Group. So she's going to speak with us a little bit about her experiences. And for those of you that aren't NOSS members, this is
I'm on a Zoom call too.
Oh, sorry, I hear some feedback. Can people put themselves on mute? Thanks. If you're not a NOSS member, you can still join the conference for $35. You can just go to the nossmd.org website and go ahead and register there. If you are a member and you care to join us, then there's a link there and you don't have to pay anything to join the conference. We are accepting proposals. So if you have something that you'd like to present, very similar to what Jocelyn and Pamela just presented, please submit. The form is on the website, but if you have any questions, you can email our president, Jessica Adams, or you can email me, And I believe our contact is on the website as well. So with that, again, thank you to Pamela and Jocelyn, and thank you to our board for helping to put this together. And then mostly thank you all for joining us on this Friday afternoon. I hope everybody stays safe and well and enjoy the rest of your semester. And I hope to see you at our April conference. Take care, everybody.
Right. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. I appreciate you guys working hard.
Thanks, Brenda. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.